Joining us now, it is Fox News superstar contributor and former Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz, along with another Jason, former Trump campaign and transition team senior advisor. It is Jason Miller. So, gentlemen, you just heard the president on that all-important stump. Is he selling his version of affordability to Georgia voters, and does it matter? Jason Chaffetz.
It's got a story that's real, that's true, that's backed with facts, and people can start to feel it in their pocketbook, especially at the gas pump. I mean, if there's something as dramatic as anything out there in terms of affordability, it's back that we're in the $2 range as opposed to the $4 range under Biden. But people can feel it, and they know that jobs and investment, the president has secured trillions of dollars of investment that will play out through the rest of his 3 years of the administration. The big, beautiful bill is going to pay off. When you start paying your taxes, you're going to pay less. You're going to have more money in your wallet. So these things all bode well. And contrast that with the Democrats, who really don't have a plan other than we don't like Donald Trump. That's the only thing they can point to.
Jason Miller, I enjoyed the president's speech. I liked his line about we've beaten affordability, or we've won affordability. And I think that's like the kind of confidence you want. But I ask you, has he? You know, maybe the conversation has shifted a little bit, but I think a lot of people are still talking about cost of living, and there's some good signs happening there. But does he need to keep that message up? Is the battle finished, or is it going to rage on all year, Jason Miller?
Yeah, great question. The battle's going to go all the way through the midterms and possibly even beyond because Joe Biden put us in such a hole. But here's the thing, is Congressman Chaffetz pointed out a moment ago, is now that we have the one big, beautiful bill fully implemented, with all these tax cuts finally in place moving, no tax on tips and Social Security and overtime, all the great things that are moving, now people are starting to feel it in the paychecks. And so we see purchasing power up, we see employment up, inflation going down. So everyday affordability is actually happening for Americans, but it takes a little while to get that going. Here's the thing, and you really hit the nail on the head. President Trump has to be out on the road selling this every single week. I'm glad today that he's in Rome, Georgia, but he has to be outside the Beltway. The Beltway is where good minds go to die. That's just the reality. You have to get out to the real people, make sure to communicate with them, connect with them on a real level, how it's impacting their lives. And the real key, there's some of these things such as bringing down the cost of prescription drugs, the Trump accounts where you have $1,000 going for every newborn kid in this country. Those are the tangible things that everyone can relate to. And one final thing also, keep in mind with continuing to bring down food prices, because Americans go to the grocery store once or twice a week. Every week when they walk down the aisles, they see those prices going down. You see President Trump's poll numbers going up.
Ooh, an inverse proportion. That's very, very interesting. Well, he has faced a little bit of headwinds from people who've won surprise races, like Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger. She is delivering the Democratic response to President Trump's State of the Union address. Jason Chaffetz, that can oftentimes be a recipe for disaster. You know, I think of our Secretary of State getting very thirsty during his response, and Bobby Jindal, and even Joe Kennedy the 15th, who had a bunch of white gunk on his face, and that was very unsettling. Do you think that she is going to be able to trump Trump with her response?
Well, I'm thrilled as a Republican to have her giving the response, because she's done exactly the opposite of what she campaigned on. I mean, it just took her a matter of days to suddenly want to implement all of these tax increases, you know, everything from dog grooming to other things that I've read about. I mean, she is just the epitome and the face of today's Democratic Party, where they campaign on one thing, they try to drive an issue, but then when they get in office, they do the exact opposite. You've got Zohran Mamdani, you've got Gavin Newsom, you've got these J.D. Pritzker around the country. I mean, what can they point to where it's actually been a success and made people's lives better? Contrast that with Donald Trump, who's going to stand there for probably an hour and a half and rattle off all the successes overseas, safety and security, driving down crime, making the economy better. All of these things are boding well for the United States of America. And then you're going to have this nothing burger with the governor who just wants to raise taxes on day one and get rid of a relationship with ICE to make our country less secure. Go ahead. But it's not going to move the needle.
Jason Miller, I feel like Hakeem Jeffries is in kind of a weird spot, because he's got like half of his people don't even want to come to the State of the Union. They're going to go do a counter protest, right? Okay, so they're not going to be there. And then Spanberger is going to try to do a counter to the thing that they're not going to. They were embarrassed last year with the little signs, right? They don't want to do the little sign thing again. But it feels like they're kind of setting themselves up for another train wreck here. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And the thing to keep in mind is now that President Trump has given a number of State of the Union addresses, the team really has this down to a science. They know what lines are going to draw out the positive responses, will make Democrats look small and petty when they stay seated the entire time on things that are no-brainers, things that everyone in the country can get behind and rally around. The key people that they'll invite, whether it's President Trump or First Lady Melania Trump, they'll have some really strategic, I think, invites for the State of the Union next week. Here's one thing I'd say about Spanberger is that you would think for someone who's able to win a governor's race that they'd be smart enough to figure out that doing the State of the Union response is just a no-win scenario. There's a reason why, and when I say the serious Democrat candidates, not that they're actual serious people, but they're polling well, such as Newsom and Kamala and the genius herself, AOC, there's a no-win situation. That's why they're running for the hills, saying, do not put me in that. So, I think Spanberger's going to go up there and show just how liberal she is and how out of touch Democrat policies are.
That was one of the best Thursday night Jason segments we have ever done in our lives.
I've never seen anything like it. And we were wondering, like, show of hands, which one of you would be better to survive a trip in the wild? Jason Chaffetz or Jason Miller? Who do you think has the advantage, Jason's?
That guy over there.
No, I'd last about 5 minutes.
Look at the humility here.
I'm perfect right here.
This is what makes him great Jasons.
That's
Jason
America.
Chaffetz, Jason Miller, the Jason Hour.